In my last video I made a strawberry bucket hat, which unless you live in the southern hemisphere had impeccably bad timing. So in this video I will be making a winter hat for those of us who can relate when Jon Snow says
winter is coming.
I made the pattern using a guide from Melly Sews, and I will link to that in the description so you can make the pattern yourself. The guide suggests making 4 connecting pieces, but I managed to fold my fabric in such a way that I only needed 1 piece and hence only 1 sheet of paper, which made this little guy happy. Fold the fabric like I'm doing here and make sure your fabric has a width equal to your head circumference. I had a little room to each side after laying down my pattern, which I consider seam allowance, but having seam allowance is not necessary since you should be working with stretchy fabric. After cutting your fabric you should have 2 pieces like this, one goes on the inside of the beanie and the other on the outside. Next I cut out some strawberry tulle matching the shape of the fabric piece. I then sewed around the edge, attaching it to the main fabric, which I haven't told you is fleece by the way. Attaching the tulle is probably the hardest part about this project because you need to make sure the tulle doesn't scooch around, as this will create folds in the finished project. Next put the 2 pieces right sides together and sew along the bottom edge. I zigzagged the raw edge and understitched the seam allowance to make the hat fold easier. And here you can see how that looks. Next fold the fabric over and sew down the darts. At this point the darts are looking like a bunch of camel toes, so fold the fabric over and sew along the raw edge. And for those of you who like fun facts, did you know you can buy camel toe underwear? Anyway, when you stitch along the raw edge, leave a small opening somewhere of your choosing to turn the beanie inside out. It's also important that when you get to the darts you flatten the seams so they cause less bulk. And now it's time to flip it inside out. Remember how I said sewing on the tulle would be the hardest part? Well, this was harder. The opening was too small to accommodate for all this stuff.
That's what she said!
So I suggest making it larger than I did. So after finishing the hat I wasn't happy about the shape, so I went back in and made some adjustments to make the hat more rounded. Did that pad look as aggressive to you as it did to me? Lastly, I closed the opening with a blind stitch, and I am just now realizing how dirty my floor is. So kindly ignore that and focus on this beautiful blind stitch that I'm doing. Anyway, that's it for the voiceover, and now I'm just gonna finish the blind stitch here and then I'm gonna show you the finished product.